Okay, good morning, everyone. Hopefully you intend to be in room 323 for video accessibility, affordably meeting the spirit of the law, not just the letter, with Cindy Camp.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out and searching and finding the right room. So you'll notice that my name's up here and my co-presenter, Kyle Sisk. So we have two presentations back to back. I'm going to be handling this one mostly on my own, and Kyle's going to be handling the next one, but he is here. So we're both with the Described and Captioned Media Project. We are a federally funded program, and I'll tell you a little bit about us, but if you've ever worked with federal grants, you know we have to collect lots of data. That's why the QR code is up here, and I'm going to put it up at the end. So I'm hoping at the end you'll take a picture of this and you'll fill out a quick survey for us so that we can continue to be funded and offer some great services. Our main mission is to promote and provide equal access to communication and learning through described and captioned educational media. So primarily we started out and we work with the K through 12 system, and we have a free online video library of over 18,000 educational videos. But we're branching out, and we want to work with the post-secondary setting, and we'll talk some more about that, and that's why we're here. I wanted to get a feel of who you all are. So, who are you? What do you do? And why are you here today?
Training.
Training.
But we've built a lot of videos.
My name is Raul. I'm from Morgan State University. I administer video platforms on campus, and it comes as a surprise to many people on my campus that they apparently have to make their videos accessible. And so for much longer than this Title II business, I have been telling people, hey, you should probably want to put captions on those videos. And so I want to learn more about how I can help my faculty put captions on their videos.
Okay. How many people here are really stressed out about the Title II regs and becoming compliant with video accessibility? Yeah, I think a lot of people are. Okay, so this is kind of a trick question, but does anybody know when colleges and universities first became tasked with making their content accessible? So some very good answers. It really all started in 1973 with Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. And that's when the feds said, yeah, colleges and universities have to be accessible to students with disabilities. Then we had the ADA in 1990, and that broadened things. So then we come down to probably what you all are more interested in, 1996. And that's when the DOJ first said the ADA applies to online materials. That's been a while. Yeah. And you know, this last April, people were so panicked because, oh, my videos have to be accessible. My online content has to be accessible. Well, we've known that since 1996. We just haven't done it. So you got some other dates in here, but really April of 2024, so over 2 years ago, was when the DOJ first published those binding regulations that said all video content and online content needed to follow the WCAG AA standards. So when everybody was panicking this April with this deadline, they've really had some time to get there. And I'm pretty sure I'm preaching to the choir here, because you've probably been telling everybody on your campus, get ready, get ready, get ready. And they've been like, that's a long way out. Oh, we've got plenty of time. No problem. And they just keep producing more and more videos that are inaccessible. And that's kind of scary. So, April 24, 2024 was when they first published those regulations. And they said it applied to web content, mobile applications. Those all have to be accessible to people with disabilities. And that's a lot of different things that includes. But they gave us some time to do it, even though a lot of the administration kept putting it off and not supporting those in disability services and those in IT who were perhaps trying to push it and say, this is not an overnight process. We can't make it happen quickly. The original deadline was this year, and we got a reprieve. So yay, we get another year. But still, that doesn't help if everybody's not on board and really committed. I attended a 3Play Media webinar recently, and there were some really good quotes from some of the panel members. One of them that I loved was, delays and deadlines don't pause the obligation. So just because you have more time doesn't take the pressure off, because I'm sure there's still a lot of content out there that even the extra year is still going to be pushing it. So we've got to make sure that those at our universities feel that pressure and understand how important it is. And then there was one of the panel members who was blind himself. And when they asked him how he felt about the delay, he said, I'm really disheartened, because now it means my access is delayed. And that was a really big eye-opener for a lot of the participants, I think, because while a lot of us may be going, more time, yes, yes, there are a lot of the users out there who are going, oh, I have to wait even longer to get the access that I need. And so that's a shift in perspective. And maybe if we can help administrators and teachers to understand that, they can get on board. Because really, that's who we're here to think about and to serve. Those individuals who need this access. A lot of times the access is really good for all students. We go back to the whole universal design for learning. Access makes things better for everybody. I mean, who does not appreciate a curb cut when you're pushing a buggy or you're dragging your suitcase from the airport? Those weren't invented for you. You're able-bodied people. You can walk up and down that curb. Don't use those curb cuts. No, let's all benefit from this. So, keep the pressure on and let's keep going. So, Kyle and I work with the Described and Captioned Media program. We focus primarily on videos, so that's the area that I'm going to focus on today. We're going to talk about how to make your videos accessible. So, WCAG. Again, I'm sure most of you know this, but I like to just go back to the basics in case there's anybody who doesn't. Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. These are some great guidelines they're not always the easiest things to read. Your eyes can get a little crossed because they use some terminology that's, what does that mean? And sometimes I wish they would have the drop downs that would put it in like clear English. They don't always do that. That's what Google is for. But WCAG has 3 levels of accessibility. And what I want to do is go through those 3 levels. To be compliant, you only have to be AA level. So we're going to go through all 3 and then go back and really delve into what AA means and what you really need to do to have your videos accessible. And I'm open to questions at any time. Don't feel like you have to wait until the end. So if anybody has questions or comments, please feel free to ask or comment along the way. Level A is the bare minimum for accessibility. That's what you should be doing no matter what. AA is kind of the widely accepted standard. That's what we hope everybody is doing. And AAA is the highest, most comprehensive standard, and that's what we would love to see so that you get that top of the line rating and everybody gets the most accessible video access and web access possible. So for your basic level, for pre-recorded audio and video, you need to have that accessible by having a transcript of it. That's if that pre-recorded video or audio is not made to make something else accessible. Sometimes we add those features in as an accessibility feature for something else. So if you're doing that, you don't have to do this endless cycle, but you do have to make it clear. This audio clip is reading this text to make it accessible for individuals with learning disabilities or print disabilities. Okay? For pre-recorded audio, such as podcasts, you need your transcripts. Transcripts are also just a good idea because suppose there's a student who needs to listen to a podcast for a class and they're in an area where they don't have good internet. Or they're traveling and they didn't bring their earbuds and they can't listen to it. They can download the transcript and just read it. So this is one of those use cases where the accessibility helps everybody. Yes?
What about third-party created podcasts that we don't own? But it's a third-party content that's out there that's not transcribed. This is teachers assigned it or read. How are we obligated, or what are our legal carve-outs for being able to provide a transcript that can be downloaded and fed to AI or other downstream uses that aren't necessarily for accessibility? How do we balance that copyright and intellectual property issue with third-party content and still be compliant?
So I'm not a lawyer, and that's something you probably want to take up with your university lawyer. But the regs do say that you are responsible for third-party content. So if a teacher is assigning it, then you are responsible for making it accessible to the student.
To the student that's disabled or to all the students?
All
students. And if the person who's providing whatever they're providing, they're obligated to make that accessible as well. So what we tell faculty is to contact the person who's the publisher. Their vendor content
And
the
that's-
faculty legally would be responsible for that.
And that's where it's really important to do faculty training. And you know your faculty. Finding out what's going to get through to them. Some faculty are more cooperative than others. I have worked with some schools that I definitely would not want to work with again. And there's one in particular I know of, and every horror story I can think of comes from that one institution. Their faculty is a lawsuit waiting to happen. And I don't know how they get so lucky to hire all of those faculty members, but they do. So I think the training is really important, finding out what motivates your faculty, and just getting that right balance. Sometimes hearing from students themselves with disabilities, you know, if you can get some video clips of student testimonials, those tend to be very impactful. And it doesn't always have to be negative. It can be, you know, a student who had a teacher who was super helpful and went above and beyond. And when other faculty see that, they're like, oh, well, I want somebody to say that about me. So it doesn't always have to be the stick. Sometimes the carrot works. Pre-recorded video only. Add the transcript. You also need some audio description explaining the visuals on the screen if it's more than just a talking head. I'm sorry. If it's video only and there's no audio, yeah, you have to describe what the visuals are and let the students know. And it's interesting because I just had a chat with someone who was producing sign language videos, and there's no audio because they're teaching sign language, and the assumption is that you've got a sighted user, but to be in compliance they need to add some sort of audio description, and it's that, but how can a fully blind person learn to a visual language just from listening to it being described? So that's a very edge case where, yeah, they probably, I'll never say never, it's highly unlikely that a fully blind person can learn ASL from listening to a described video of it. But what if you have a student who is watching those videos and learning ASL, and they have a parent or a significant other or a roommate who is blind and just wants to know what's happening in that video? As is, they can't even tell that video's playing. So they may walk up and just start talking and interrupt this student trying to learn because the video's silent. They don't even know it's playing. So adding in something as simple as person signing ASL for the word what is enough to let a blind or a low vision person know there's a video playing and they're signing. It doesn't have to get complicated. Let's don't overthink it. For pre-recorded videos, you need to add captions. I think we all know that. It's been done over and over. We still don't always do it. A lot of times we wait until there's a student in the classroom and they're asking for it, but we gotta do it. Audio description or a media alternative. At the level A, you could have a transcript that describes the video, and you wouldn't have to add in full audio description. However, at level AA, which is where we're all going, you've got to have that full audio description in the video. And the other added requirement is you have to have captions for live audio. So a live podcast, a live radio broadcast, you have to have a text equivalent so that a deaf or hard of hearing individual can access it. So these are the standards that we're going for. This is what we have to add in. Yes?
So as far as captions for live, I'm going to make the assumption that the accuracy standard for live does not match that of the pre-recording.
Correct. You're going to have a lower standard. You still need to have a live captioner providing them because most, again, I hate to make blanket statements. I have not seen any AI captions that would provide good enough access. I think like Zoom captions for live meetings has done really good. I think they're getting much, much better. The technology is getting there. But as far as students getting the access they need, you need a live captioner. Okay. Now, I didn't want to make any assumptions, but a lot of people have not seen or heard audio description. So I put in a little clip here so we can all move forward on the same page and you understand what audio description is. Basically, whenever there is a pause in the dialogue of the video, a describer will come on and they will explain the important visual concepts so that an individual who is blind or low vision doesn't miss out on those. So this is from a classic movie, To Kill a Mockingbird. We're going to watch just a minute or so of that so you get an idea.
Morning. Jen, Dill, and Scout.
That's what audio description is.
Morning.
Now let's move on to the AAA, which one day we hope we all get to. That adds in for pre-recorded video that you have sign language interpretation, that you add in extended audio description. I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. That for pre-recorded, you have a text alternative. So basically for every video you have a transcript of both the captions and the audio description. You may ask why you need that. If you have deaf-blind users, they can print out that transcript and have access to the full video. All of the captions, everything that's being said, all of the audio description, everything that's described. So that makes it accessible to deaf-blind users. And for live audio, that you have the real-time captioning. So, next, I want to show you just a really quick clip of a video that is AAA accessible.
All here on Awesome Planet.
Title, Exploration Awesome Planet. A large white bird flies from trees.
Covering over 30,000 square miles along the East Coast, South Carolina may not be one of our biggest states, but it packs a diverse set of terrain from the forest to the ocean. With over 2,800 miles of coastal shoreline, researchers have no shortage of questions to answer about life in the nearby waters.
On a platform, Philippe Cousteau.
Sharks play a vital role in the marine ecosystem in the Carolinas. And in Port Royal Sound, over a dozen species coexist, including one of my favorites, the sleek and powerful tiger shark.
Okay, so we've got a lot going on. We've got our captions, we've got our audio description, and we've got our sign language. It's also important that you have an accessible player because you need to be able to turn on and off all of these features because not everybody's going to want everything on at the same time. So let's go in and really delve into the AA standards. You need those captions for everything that you have pre-recorded. That's everything on your website, that's things in your classroom, that's also your social media post. We'll come back to that. You need audio description, and that needs to explain the important visual aspects. We're going to get into the audio description a little bit more, and there are some tricks that you can use depending on what type of video it is so that you don't have to describe everything. From what I've been hearing, I think a lot of colleges and universities are well aware of captions. They may not have everything captioned, but they at least have a good idea of where to go to get it done. They know what videos do and don't have captions, kind of have that in hand. But I'm hearing that a lot of schools are really behind in audio description and are kind of floundering with that. Because in the wide world, audio description's about 20 years behind captions. Everything on broadcast TV basically has to be captioned. Audio description is about 20 years behind in that only a certain amount of broadcast programming has to be audio described at this point. So it's no surprise that audio description is not as widely known. There are a lot of people who've never heard it, don't understand what it is. And honestly, it is a lot more difficult to do than captions. Transcripts. You need to have those for your videos. And like we discussed, they are so helpful if somebody doesn't have good internet, if they need to download that, print it, and study it when they don't have internet access, when they're not where they can watch or listen to a video. Transcripts are super helpful study guides. So it just makes sense to add them. Since you've already done the captions, why not? The accessible video player. This is another place that we don't always think about, and it can be a hang-up. So making sure that your video player is accessible, that it will allow you to turn the captions on and off, the audio description on and off, the sign language on and off, if you have that eventually. But also that it's accessible to screen readers, to a blind individual who is not using a mouse. Is everything going to work on keyboard commands? Is it going to work with those students who have alternative ways of accessing it? They don't use a keyboard. They don't use a mouse. They have physical limitations. So it's a lot of things to think about, but again, something that you want to check with whoever is providing access to your videos, making sure that those are fully accessible players. And then we talked about already third-party content. You are responsible for that. So you have to train your instructors. Don't just pull up any video off of YouTube. You need to plan ahead. It's got to be accessible, and whoever is going to make it accessible has to have time to do that. So unless you, the professor, want to be named in a lawsuit and lose your summer house and your nice Corvette and all of those things that you've worked really hard to earn, work with us. So yeah, what's included? What do you have to make accessible? The public-facing content, the student-facing, the employee-facing. All of those great employee videos that you have to do, those FERPA trainings and HIPAA and all of those wonderful trainings. Anybody ever taken one of those and it wasn't accessible? Yeah. So go to those companies. They have to make those accessible too. And like you mentioned, if everybody goes to these publishers and these companies and say, we will not buy your product if you do not make it accessible. And by accessible, I mean A, B, C, D, E. Then they will do it. They just have to feel the pressure. And I think they're about to, because I hope more of us are going to do that. But again, we have to get the faculty on board when they're choosing the textbooks that come with those nice online content. Okay, let's talk about quality of captions and audio description and all of that. Sure that you have seen some really good captions and some not so good, but I think a demo is worth 1,000 words. So this is the trailer for the original Toy Story movie. The first time through is with automatic captions, and the next time through is with DCMP style captions. And I am happy to share this with anybody who would like to use it. So you're welcome to contact me and I will share any of these demos. Oh.
Sergeant gets served. Establish a recon post downstairs. Code red. Repeat, we are code red. Recon plan. Charlie, execute, move. It's Walt Disney Pictures presents a totally new animated motion picture event. Star Command, come in. Do you read me? The story of two toys. There seems to be no sign of intelligent life anywhere. Hello, Chloe. I'm headed for a showdown. My name is Woody. This is my spot. I am Buzz Lightyear. I come and be, you are a child. Plaything. You are a sad, strange little man, and playing by their own rules. Draw me again. I don't like confrontation by Vulcan alien, where you're mocking me, aren't you? You. Music. Oh, impressive wingspan. Very good. Oh, what? Wow. Can't fly. Yes. I can. Can't. Can. Can't. Can. This holiday season, the adventure takes off. When toys come to life. Oh, and Finity and beyond. Toy Story. Look. Dad. Applause. Music.
Sergeant?
Yes, sir.
Establish a recon post downstairs.
Code red. Repeat. We are code red. Recon plan Charlie. Execute. Move, 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 move. It's a big one.
Walt Disney Pictures presents a totally new animated motion picture event.
Star Command, come in. Do you read me?
The story of two toys.
There seems to be no sign of intelligent life anywhere.
Hello?
Oh, yeah.
Headed for a showdown.
My name is Woody. This is my spot.
I am Buzz Lightyear. I come in peace.
You are a child's plaything.
You are a sad, strange little man.
And playing by their own rules.
Draw me again.
I don't like confrontations.
Fuck-looking alien. Where?
You're mocking me, aren't you?
Oh, impressive wingspan. Very good.
Oh, what? What? You can't fly.
Yes, I Can.
This holiday season, the adventure takes off when toys come to life.
To infinity and beyond.
Toy Story.
Look out!
So big difference. And the first one, I can't remember, it was like 90% accurate. And when we hear 90%, oh, that's not so bad. But those were terrible. There was no speaker identification, so we don't know who's talking and when. It's just a blur of words. There's no punctuation. So you don't know when one thought begins or ends. It's word salad. There's no context to it. It's a jumbled mess. Now, you as proficient readers and very skilled in English might get something out of it. But when you think about deaf and hard of hearing students who mostly English is their second language, sign language is their first, may not be really skilled in English, trying to decipher that mess, it's crazy. The other thing is, when you pull up YouTube and turn on the automatic captions, you never know when interesting vocabulary that shouldn't be used in a classroom is going to pop up. And even though the teacher may preview the captions ahead of time, automatic captions are created on the fly. So they change every time. If they're good one time, they're probably not going to change dramatically and be horrible the next time, but you still may have curse words pop up here and there when they didn't when you previewed them. So don't use automatic captions. They're horrible. Just don't do it. Caption the right way. Now, these guidelines, these 4 things, this is what the FCC has put out there as captioning guidelines. And that's it. That's all they say as far as captioning guidelines. It's really not very much. It's not a lot to go by. It's a very low bar to meet. But it's also not really helpful when you get in there and you're like, okay, well, how do I caption this formula that a teacher has used in an advanced math class? So I wanted to give you some resources. And remember, I'm going to pop that QR code up at the end. I'm going to send you, if you fill that out, I'll send you all a copy of this presentation and you'll get all of these links. And I'm not going to spam your email, so don't worry about that. But DCMP has what we call the captioning key. It's a whole book of captioning guidelines that have been researched. And in fact, a lot of captioning agencies out there refer to this when they do their captions. So if you're doing in-house captions, this is kind of the gold standard to go by of how many words per, how many characters per line, how many lines per screen, how to break up a sentence grammatically accurately. And you would be surprised, that makes a huge difference when you're reading. If you break a sentence in the wrong place, it can really throw off your understanding. So all of these are really important. We also have a short module that's going to take you an hour and a half to 2 hours to go through. And it explains all about post-production captioning. It's really great. So if you have professors who are doing their own captioning, it's a great resource to say, hey, go do this module, this training. You get a certificate at the end, so that might be something that they think is a great thing that then they can put in their portfolio. I completed this online captioning training. And then we also have a new tool, DCMP Create, which will help you with the captions and all of this. And that's what our next presentation is about. So stay around for that one. Next, I wanted to talk about audio description. And basically, audio description is describing all of the visual aspects that a blind or low vision individual would need to fully access the video. There are a couple of use cases where you could get away without adding audio description. If your teachers are creating their own lecture content, and basically it is a professor sitting in front of their screen or standing in front of a classroom, which we know is not best practice. We don't want them creating online content that way, but they do it. But if it's basically a talking head, and that's all it is, then there's really not that much to describe. All you would have to go in is voice any labels, titles, any text that was not voiced, but very minimal. The second one is if you can train your professors to describe their content as they go along. That's the best solution. So going forward, that's where we would like to get. And I have a really cool example of this. So this is what it would look like.
4y raised to the third power, that product. What does that actually mean if we expand it out? Let's see. So I'm multiplying 4y by itself 3 times. So 4y times 4y times 4y, right? Now the commutative property of multiplication, that tells me I can multiply things in any order that I feel like it, right? So I'm going to rearrange this multiplication. I'm going to bring all those coefficients out front, all those 4s, and I'm going to group all those y's together. Okay? So I'm going to represent this as 4 times 4 times 4, and y times y times y, right? Okay. Now I'm going to simplify this. I see this part right here. I've got those 3 4s multiplied together. Then here, I've got those 3 y's multiplied together. So I could represent that first chunk, that 4 times 4 times 4, as 4 to the third. And I could represent that second chunk, y times y times y, as y to the third. So that means that 4y raised to the third power, it means the same thing as 4 to the third times y to the third.
Okay, so I did take away the video so you could sit back and pretend you are blind or low vision and you're just listening. Is this somewhat what you envisioned as she was talking? She did a wonderful job. She wrote all of this out, but she very clearly talked through every bit of it. If you can train your professors to do that, there's no need to describe this because she said everything she wrote as she wrote it. As opposed to this equation here, 4y. And then we get 4 to the third times y to the third. And they say, move this here and that there, and we just need to expand it out a little bit. The great thing about doing it this way, again, universal design for learning, it helps us all. Your visual learners, your auditory learners, everything gets reinforced because a person who has all their senses, they're seeing it, they're hearing it, they're writing it in their notes. It's so helpful for everybody. this is a great teaching technique. So let's see if we can't get teachers to do more of this. Then you don't need to describe your videos. Yes?
Is audio description, is that required for live events as well?
At this point, if you have a live event on campus, like a theater or...
I do sports production, so our
Okay.
athletic games, do those need to have audio description if we don't have a play-by-play commentator that's describing what's happening?
I'm not sure about that.
No?
I don't. There's no requirement at this point for live to audio describe it. So there are two kinds of audio description, standard and expanded. Standard was what we saw in To Kill a Mockingbird. Every time there's a pause, you describe as much as possible within that given pause. Expanded is you actually pause the video and then you can add as much description as needed, and then you start the video again. And I'm going to show several examples of this. Standard works really well for a lot of use cases. It does not work well when you have a professor who talks and talks and talks and talks, and there are no pauses that you can add description into. Expanded is also needed often in science and math classes because you've got detailed formulas and graphics and charts that it just takes a lot of time to describe. So you have to choose which one is going to fit your video that you're working with. Okay. We're going to watch this. This is standard description.
In an animation, streams of light collide to create a globe filled with water. Titled Science Nation. In a warehouse, a man reads a list.
Snacks, ice cube, or duct tape. Cases packed? Check. Sled loaded? Check. Thermal pants on? Check. For this team of marine ecologists, it's time to hit the ice. And that means gunning.
They head out on snowmobiles.
So you can see the first part of it, they were able to describe the intro, but then after that, there's, just 2 or 3 words here and there. And that may be what you're dealing with.
In an animation?
This is expanded, but it's almost hard to tell.
Nobody will dictate to me what I can say.
A bold red and white cover says, "To sin by silence when we should protest makes cowards out of men." Artwork depicts the Great Migration north.
It was like our internet now.
A political cartoon features portly Chef Taft feeding a shrunken John Lewis a spoonful of political pot stew across the color line via a very long spoon.
The topics that were covered in the crisis covered everything.
Titles: The Pan-African Congress. Are you going to allow lynching mobs to continue? A women's...
Okay, so I think this is a very well done expanded. It gives you all the information you need without drawing it out. This is an example. Let's watch.
An adult chimpanzee sits in the rainforest, grooming the fur of a baby chimp that is lying in front of it, 1 foot in the air supported by the adult chimp.
One of the most amazing moments I remember.
A man in a green khaki shirt is positioned in front of the roots of a large moss-covered tree in the rainforest.
Was when
Okay, this one is expanded, and it's almost painful because they describe everything. It's not necessary. So expanded has a wide range. You don't have to go into this much detail. That's not necessary. You just need to get all of the important facts and then move on. These are some resources that we offer related to description. At this point, the FCC really does not give any guidelines on how to describe. So you don't have very much there. We've got the DCMP description key. We've got some training modules for you. So again, if your faculty wants to learn more, if you want to learn more, we've got modules that are relatively short and can give you all of the basics. Our next presentation, we're going to talk with you about a tool that we have that will help you add audio description, captions, and sign language to your videos. These are just some extra resources for you. And then I wanted to pop that QR code back up. If you want to take a picture of it, it's an evaluation for us. It asks for your email, but that's not required. If you don't want to give us your email, you don't have to. If you do, I'll send you a copy of this presentation. And if you don't want to fill out the form and you still want the presentation, I've got my card up here. You're welcome to take it and just send me an email and say, I want a copy. So you get all of these resources. We've got just a few minutes left. So do you have any questions for me? Any more comments? Yes?
So content that the university is creating and then is distributed through a third-party provider, right?
Yes.
Would that be on the university or the distributor to make sure that that content is accessible?
It's on the university. You're saying that it is content that then your students are using, or you're creating the content that this third-party provider is then like reselling?
We're streaming content live to a third-party distributor who is then pay-per-view to whoever wants to watch it.
Ultimately, it's the distributor.
Yeah.
But it's really the license agreement is what dictates who does the work. But yeah, ultimately it's whoever's making it available.
Okay.
I mean, that doesn't extend to a Kaltura where you're embedding and you're just using them as a mechanism to deliver to your own audience. That obviously doesn't work there. But if you're licensing it to someone else, the responsibility is ultimately on them.
Anybody else? Well, thank you for coming. I hope you stay for our next one and learn more about DCMP Create. And we're here, so if you have any questions, let us know. Thank you.
Thank you.